Iko Nini. So jana kuna vile Gachau alikuwa na trend to a certain level and story kwa nafanya alikuwa na trend ilikuwa interesting sana. Why? Kuna video alibaki amepost and on the video alikuwa nabonga jua stories za Ozempic. Unajua unse one of the things ile mum credit for ni ukuambiaga like you can learn from him but don't do what he does. So wacha tucheki like what he was talking about.
Hizi dawa zinakuanga za watu wenye wako type 2 diabetic. Inatumika pia kutreat obesity and that's what most people are using it for. No. Other considerations to make. Hizi dawa mnasikianga zikiitwa GLP agonists. And the thing is, you have GLP receptors kila mahali, including in your heart. So ni poa kama unatumia hizi dawa long term, ukuwe na ile monitor heart rate. Either watch yako ama kale kama mashini kenye kanatumikanga kwa lab. Track your resting heart rate, start low. Vile nimekwambia. Anza hapa chini 0.25. Stick there for like 4 weeks before you titrate upwards to 0.5 mg.
So Ozempic of course ni kitu ilikuwa popular. I think ni last year ilianza kuwa popular cause ni dawa inafaa kwa ya diabetes but somehow inasaidiaga watu kulose weight. So unapata in the first world kuna vile walianza misuse with that na cheki and yes that's the reason behind that. But sasa wacha niangalie jo hii GLP meaning ikikam to stories blood sugar and whatever. Let me see kama iko nayo because I remember there is a certain word najuaga yani GLP kikam to like what something is happening in the body. So GLP which stands for glucagon like peptide 1 is a hormone that plays a significant role in regulating blood sugar. It's produced in the small intestine and has several functions including stimulating insulin release, blocking glucagon secretion, slowing down stomach emptying, na promoting a feeling of fullness. So I guess that's the reason why ina happen hapa. So nacheki cause ndio usi add weight, one of the first things that you need to do is reduce the amount of food unakula. So it means that it makes you ukitumia hiyo nini inafanya you feel more full. So kama unashindwa kwa nini nimebonga juu hiyo ni we'll see what sort of trouble that Gachau got into. Acha tuendelee na hii video yake.
The moment you withdraw using this needle kutoka kwa hii vial yake, there are various places unaweza inject. Inakuwa injected subcutaneous. Kuja hapa kuna hii kitovu yako hapa hivi. Vuruta hiyo ngozi, dunga hapo. For ladies, huko kwa hips inakuwa mko sawa. Some of them hapa juu kwa ass. There's a lot of subcutaneous material. So that's how you administer it once a week and hizo ndio dosage nimewaambia. Start small, titrate upwards, fika hapa 0.5 mg.
So na check in story yote na lose weight. So kitu kama hii of course when girls see this, girls will be more drawn to it than men. Najua men of course pia si worry you are losing weight but kwa madem inakuwaga very urgent. Najua girls want to lose it as soon as yesterday. But with that comes a lot of dangers. So chiki like Ozempic kumekuwa ikisemekana like kuna side effects ile inafanya watu wanakuwa na weak bones but hizi ni vitu zile bado zinastadiwa but inasemekana iko na long time side effects that are not worth it. But acha tuendelee.
Sio ni reason nakwenda up to 1 mg. I wonder why people are being prescribed unapewa 1 mg. Then unapatana na mtu anakuambia hajakula siku 3. At least siku 3 amekuwa akikula tu egg whites 2 kwa siku and that's it. Hiyo itakuwa ina beat ile aim yangu yenye siku hizi na push ya kubuild muscle because if you're not eating una build muscle gani? Let's learn how to integrate hizi drugs into our lifestyle in a way that bado tunakula, tunapiga zoezi, tuna gain muscle na tuna burn fat. If there is a way unaweza balance hizo vitu zote, inaweza kuwa poa sana. Unajua wengi wenyu wako curious, hizi dawa zinauzwaje na hasa wa ZPHC. Reach out to mtu wa
So hapa ndio kabaki amepatia na vile msenza baki amepata hizi drugs ama yes whatever they are. So after do hivyo, one of the people that shared this ilikuwa ni a doctor by the name of Mbiti, anakuwaga based kwa Twitter. Alisema this is why the law needs to pass ASAP, mtakufa vibaya sana. So of course alikuwa anasema juu ya the law ya stories za cybercrime, najua vile anasema spreading information blah blah blah. But now what else happened? Another thing that happened was kuna wasa wanajita the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya walibaki wamerelease ama walisend a letter ikakuwa ni Mr. Anthony Gachau Njoroge, Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya advisory on online communication of prescription medicines. Kasema the Pharmaceutical Society of Kenya is the professional umbrella body for all pharmacists in Kenya. Established in 1964, PSK represents the pharmacy profession and serves as the guardian of the public interest in matters relating to medicines, pharmaceutical care and health products. Ikiendelea, our vision is anchored in Article 43A of the Constitution of Kenya, which guarantees every person the right to the highest attainable standard of health, which includes the right to health care service, including reproductive health care. In context of pharmaceutical care, pharmacists are the recognized experts in defining and ensuring the highest attainable blah blah blah. Alafu ikakuwa, we've noted your growing influence in the wellness and fitness space, and we acknowledge the positive impact you're making by encouraging healthier lifestyles, body confidence, and preventative health practices among your audience. Such work is commendable and contributes significantly to Kenya's public health goals. However, some of the content shared on your platform has involved prescription-only medicines, including GLP-1 agonists, and has featured references to where medicines can be purchased. Nago hiyo part end up nikilenga. While we believe your intent is to inform and help, such communication unfortunately falls within the direct-to-consumer promotion of prescription medicines, which is prohibited under the Pharmacy and Poisons Act, Cap 244 of the laws of Kenya, the guidelines of advertising, promoting medicines, blah 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 blah. So yes, hii ndio kitu nani alienda pakiambiwa. Alafu akaambiwa, in light of this, PSK respectfully requests that you review and remove content that promotes or directs the public toward purchasing prescription-only medicine, refrain from posting similar content in the future, and consider focusing future health communication on areas such as nutrition, fitness, preventive care, and responsible health-seeking behavior, which remains within compliance and make a positive contribution to public wellness. So yes, this is what GACHAU has been told. And I'll say, yeah, GACHAU is that guy. Najua GACHAU is very influential. Mseka mimi, GACHAU is the guy who made me nianze kudo strength training. It's not something that I had in my books this year when I was starting the year. But he's the guy who made me do that. So I know how influential he is and actually understand why so anasema hivyo. Because ikikam to vitu kama kina Ozempic, kuna the dangers. Najua there is the side effects that are still being studied, and it's very dangerous, especially if you're in a third world country kutry vitu zingine, cause utapata huku if some side effects cannot be dealt with in time because our emergency systems and what and nini. But natry kuricha out to GACHAU one of these days tubaki tumebonga juu story, cause ira ya jo na hizi madawa zake na kwa gara nyingine isi ya kawaida kabisa. So GACHAU najua, of course, I think about GACHAU is when he's doing this, he's doing it from a good place, and I think that's one of the things that we respect us the pharmacy nini ya Kenya wamekubali PSK that yes, you're trying to do a good thing, you're just going about it the wrong way. So tukitoka hapo wacha tuende kwa story nyingine. Kulikuwa ni Azziad Nasenya sues Sacco in a bid to stop the auction of her 20 million Kileleshwa house. And his story, of course, is getting in trouble na some girl, some player hitting girl na itango Jenadre. Feature sura ikole, he says a girl should not own a house. Kumbuka hiyo pumbavu ya kutry kuturn something about finance into a gender thing. But history ya Azziad na kwaga interesting because it depends with who you're talking to. Number one, this is how I look at mortgages. Mortgages inakuwaga a bank's way of trapping you and for you to throw money into a pit, and they want you to get tired of throwing the money into a pit so that they can get back their money. In her situation, it's a Sacco. But hii yake ya Sacco ni inakuwaga controversial because apart from the Sacco, inasemekana for her to fund this house, she had to also borrow from friends. I don't know how true that is, najua. So allegedly ali borrow from friends, and with that of course comes who put your friends in trouble because now they end up najua. But wacha nisome hii nini alafu nipatiane my 2 cents. Ilikuwa kwa Islive Voice pia. Azziad Nasenya moves to court to stop auction of 20 million Kileleshwa apartment. In her suit, Azziad accuses a savings and credit society Sacco of unlawfully attempting to auction her home despite her having cleared all pending loan arrears. Alafu kwa ni media personality and content creator Azziad Nasenya stand to the commercial court in Nairobi seeking orders to stop the auction of her Kileleshwa apartment valued at 20M. In her suit, Azziad accuses savings nini. Okay, hapo wamejirepeat. Alafu she wants the court to restrain the Sacco and its appointed auctioneers from proceeding with the sale first scheduled for October 8, 2025. Then Kendelea court documents show that Azziad, a registered member of the Sacco, acquired the apartment through a mortgage financing requirement. She claims that after identifying the property she applied for and was granted a loan of 20.389 million. Damn, okay. To facilitate the purchase. Ilikuwa tu last year. Alafu 2 days later, a loan agreement was executed on June 14th. Nini, the property had been charged to the institution as security for the facility being transferred to her name. She began repaying the loan as agreed and had remitted 897 by the time the dispute arose. That's ni pesa kidogo. However, she admits that she later fell into arrears amounting to 1.5 million due to prevailing economic hardships affecting many Kenyans. According to her affidavit, the Sacco went ahead to deduct 2.5 million from her savings account, clearing all the outstanding arrears. Despite this, she was allegedly shocked to learn that the Sacco had instructed auctioneers to advertise her property for sale just 5 days later of an alleged balance of 21.88. Kumbuka the original loan was 20.389. She's already paid close to 3 million and she still has a debt that's bigger than the 20.389 million. So time mwafa kika hapa chini nikwambie that a mortgage is a bad decision. Sisemi because of your gender, sisemi sijali kawe ni Charlie, sijali kawe ni Dame. It's not a good decision. This is a very bad financial decision because kama the Sacco deducted 2.45 million, yes, and how much did she have? And already alikuwa nasema alikuwa amepay 897. So 897, let's round that off to 900 million. Let's add that to 2.45. We already have 3.35. And even after paying 3.35 million, she has a debt of 21.88. How does this make financial sense? Kwa wale wasomaga like, hii kitu tulikam tukadanganywa. Tulikam tukaambiwa. And the one thing I hate about Kenyan is siwa mboga, we should all live life in the same way. So tulikam tukaambiwa that rent is bad. And instead of rent, you'd rather take a mortgage. Instead of this, you'd rather... And you think about it, like, by the time unachukua hii mortgage, the amount of money you'll have spent over the next 20 years repaying it wouldn't make any financial sense. You'll have paid like double for that. Other countries, it makes sense. Nikipatianaga specifically mupatiana example ya states. Majuzi vile nilibonga joy story, someone uleko based in states alisema ye mortgage yake uga 2.8%. Mortgage yetu inakuwaga huko ma 11%. Alafu inakuwaga stories as due inflation this, inflation that. Nikoshwata majuu kama iko, it's not that ridiculous. So, I don't know. Good for her, kama she feels like she can win this. But hizi stories are lawsuits, mostly it's the lawyers that benefit. Because through her lawyers, Azziad argues that the move to auction the property was unlawful, premature, and in bad faith. If you took this loan last year in June, and already 1.5 million in arrears that had to be taken from your savings, the probability you're going to struggle to pay this is super high. And the worst thing about life is, and this is something that we never learn, is you have to learn to take your losses. If I was talking to her, I'd tell her, just take your loss. You're 3.35 million. It was a very dumb business decision that you made, but you're young. You're young and you lived in a society that tells you that rent is very bad. So what happened? You naturally trusted what the society told you and you ended up making a very bad business decision. But taking them to court, I feel like the only person who's benefiting from this whole thing is your lawyers. But you yourself will just end up throwing more money, trying to save this, and it's gone. I don't feel the Sacco is going to give you back because you have to show how you're going to pay back this 21.88 million. How are you going to repay it? What are you going to do? Even if you earn 1 million shillings a month, you'd have to have zero expenditure for you to clear this in 21 months. Najua. It will still take you 22 months. That means that ukianza saa hizi, which is November of this year, utakuwa ukimaliza when? September 2027. I don't know. So my advice, which is unsolicited, would be just take the loss. And why do I keep talking about this story? Not bongaga juu story because I want the young person learner to watch abaki amecheki story. And kile nazataka ubaki umelani pia sisi wenyewe tulisikiaga hizi stories. Like when we were young, we were told vile rent ni mbaya and vile you should never do this, never do that. But then you come and realize that mortgage is worse. Yes, if you can't, unataka how, either buy in cash ama build. But mortgage in Kenya, the rates are so exploitative that it makes no financial sense. So you have to ask yourself, why am I getting this mortgage? Am I getting it so that I feel good about myself that I don't pay rent? Or am I getting it because it's a sound financial decision to make? A lot of us would get a mortgage because it feels good kuambia wase, like, you know what, I don't pay rent, this is me, najua na nyumba yangu silipagi rent, alafu mabesi zako wako hapo wako like, buda ulipagi rent, we ni mkali jo, ulipagi rent. And that's where it ends. So me, that's my 2 cents. Then like for story, ni cheki where it goes, but just count your losses, man. Just count your losses. Iko Nini, nimeinterrupt show kukuremind juu ya LemFi. Kama uko US ama Canada na unataka kutuma do Kenya, register kwa LemFi ukitumia promo code Iko Nini. Hii itakuguarantee $20 cashback on your first $100 transaction. Alafu pia time una register, make sure umetick the 2 checkboxes za notifications ndio ukireceive info about amazing offers through newsletters. Na pia usijali, LemFi hawatumagi hizi maleta za, yani unajua like ma messages za kipumbavu. Pia usisahau every time una transact $50 and above una earn points. Na the more una transact, the more points you earn and you can redeem them as cash ile time unatuma pesa. Alafu pia kitu nanibamba kabisa ni saizi ukitumia LemFi muzabaki umelipa pay bills na till numbers directly. That means muzabaki umehandle bills za maparo wako ukiwa hizo maside za States ama maside za Canada. Alafu pia we mwenyewe as a LemFi user baki umetafuta ile button imeandikwa get USD $20, ubaki umeinvite mabeste zako, na ukiinvite mabeste zako on their first $100 transaction unapata pesa ngapi? $20 cashback. So unangoja nini? Baki umechangamka, ingia LemFi. LemFi, international payments for everyone. Iko Nini. And talking about counting your losses, kuna nini elections was na happen hii wiki US, na one of the elections that was happening was for the mayor of New York, and boy flani ndiye alibaki ameshinda, naitwa ni Mamdani, na hii raya inaitwa ni Zoran Mamdani. So Zoran Mamdani ni mse ule budake ni Ugandan, na budake is an author. Alafu but mse mwenyewe pia one of the things that came out is alikuwa garapa, na alikuwa na rap because ye mwenyewe ni Ugandan born. Inakuonyesha vile states were such an interesting country because Zoran Mamdani is an Indian wa Uganda. Probability of him winning a position in Uganda is next to 0, but he actually went to the US and is won a position. And this also makes it interesting because it shows you that when he goes there he won't be corrupt, but if he'd won a position in Uganda most probably he'd be corrupt. Why? Because Uganda kuna rules, hakuna consequences. Akienda pale anapata kuna rules, kuna consequences, kuna najua. But one of the most interesting things is a lot of people didn't want him to win. Number 1 ikiwa ni Trump akuwa anataka umsashinde, so Trump is there losing his shit. Msengine pia kwa anataka ashinde ni ufala anaitwa Elon Musk. Na hiyo Elon Musk ilikuwa funny because iraya ilikuwa ina jam juu ya vile ballots za states zinaapia. Those ballots are so interesting mpaka nashindwa, we're just very dishonest, so we can never do this. But try and imagine a situation whereby jina ya one member can appear more than once, and the reason why it appears more than once is for mseka Donald Trump ilikuwa ni Republican alafu conservative. So kuna mse anajua anaenda kuvota za conservative na hajui why he is voting as a Republican. So with that in mind they put both. But you know kilibaki ime piece of Elon, and Elon anakuwaga that perfect example of people. Kuna a lot of people who believe that just because you're rich it means you're bright. Na wase wengi sana wakisema that Elon is a what? Elon is a what is it called? A genius. I always hear that phrase. Elon is a genius. Elon is a genius. Alafu hiyo time ndo naambia say like even this Tesla thing. He didn't come up with Tesla. What happened is ali end up join kampuni alafu aka hostile takeover. So he's just a good investor but he's not a genius. Najua. So ilikuwa imejam kabisa na history ya nini. Nimetry kutafuta hiyo part alikuwa anabonga juu ya watu kuvote twice. It was very funny. Maybe he ended up pulling it down but he end up okay this was interesting. Wacha nibaki nimekuonyesha what had been written here. So ilikuwa ni New York City ballot is a scam, then akabaki ameendelea kaandika no ID is required. Other mayoral candidate appear twice. Cuomo's name is the last in the bottom right. Then we look at it. So ukiangalia hii nini unacheki Zora Mamdani unamcheki hapo yuko under Democrat. Hiyo ni row A. But another thing is if you go you'll see him under working families pia ni yeye. Yes. So the working families but I guess huko pia I had something na kuko US msabaki meni correct. I had something like if kitu kama working families endorse you then unaweza iko hapo as their candidate and so now someone is voting they know, but even if someone ticks twice wewe na wewe it still counts as one vote. So it's very interesting. So this is what umsel kwa mejam juu yake. Alafu of course kitu ni bamba ni states wasochekagi na wewe. Alafu ikakuwa ni msee anaitwa Isaac Sola akamwambia nonsense, NYC doesn't have voter ID laws. Then ikaendelea in New York the state multiple parties can endorse the same candidate, so some appear multiple times. Silwa the Republican is also named twice. Eric Adams is on the ballot because he dropped out too late. Then Cuomo lost the primary and ran as an indie, and ballots list major party candidates first. Alafu akaendelea maybe you don't like the rules, fine, but posting this stuff with zero context makes people think there is fraud or cheating. These are just the rules being applied to candidates evenly. So if we are to go back, is the Republican guy appearing twice? Anaitwa Curtis A. Silwa. Curtis A. Silwa, does he appear twice? Yes, anappear under Protect Animals na pia under Republican. Yes. Okay, so hii ndio huu fala alikuwa na nini. Alafu ikakuwa kuna wase kwa menika when IDs are not required voting, hao ni wase wake. Them anaitwa Ethan Nechin akasema in New York no ID needed, just address and signature. Then akasema Zoran appears twice because he's both online as Democratic and working families. Cuomo the primary and is no major party, so he's last. When you are moron, everything looks like a conspiracy. And akaambiwa here is your community note. Your ID is not required because the information is checked against the voter roll. Candidates appear on the ballot for each eligible party that endorses them. Mamdani, this was Democrats and working families. Cuomo is the last bottom right because he made a brand new party to run as no one wanted to endorse him. So this was very interesting. And yeah, maybe that's us in the future when time tunajua like tuko more honest, majina zinakuwa zikiapia twice. So raya kama Ruto inaapia kama UDA plus something else that he stands for. That would be interesting. Najua, that would be interesting. But yes, those were the elections that were happening and they were super fast. Like the counting was super fast. The yes, this counting was super fast. Just like in less than a few hours they've already projected who the winner is. Hii shit ya Kenya ya kuchukua days, I don't understand it. Actually don't understand it. And hopefully, I think I've not actively pursued him, but I need to pursue Ethicon and see and ask him like what's up and what are they planning to do. Are they planning to do it differently this time? And yeah, why didn't he insist on history ya macho? History ya privacy. Let's just get as much nini as possible, najua biometric, alafu let's take it as digital as possible. History ya manual voting is the reason why there's a lot of monkey business that happens. But yes, should I say good Friday? Ama Yesu hajakufa, so is it a bad Friday? Okay, Iko Nini.